Hello, I'm Chuck Smith.
And I'm Carol Matriciana. Welcome to this edition of the Pagan Invasion.
Eastern meditation is a religious practice that has successfully penetrated the ranks of mainstream American society. Unknown to most, however, is the fact that this is exactly what was planned and hoped for by a group of Indian mystics just over 100 years ago.
It was during the 19th century, out of Calcutta, the black magic capital of India, that Parahamsa Madhavi Saji emerged as an enthusiastic reformer of yoga. He deliberately changed the packaging of this ancient religious practice so as to make it more acceptable to the Western mindset. Since that time, a new modern scientific approach, having been aggressively marketed by leading gurus and their disciples, has now taken root in the American consciousness.
Yoga and meditation were originally intended to be used only by the elderly who were nearing death. The yoga positions, the chanting, and meditative state were designed to put the practitioner in contact with the Hindu deities who are said to be able to guide them into their next phase of reincarnation. The physical body would experience a controlled heartbeat and breath rate along with a mind that is deadened to reality. This would then supposedly make the entry into death easier and less traumatic. How incredibly ironic it is, then, that this ancient practice, which was designed to assist the aged Hindu in dying, is today being used by vibrant young businessmen, athletes, and even children for achieving better, healthier living.
Today, yoga and meditation is promoted as an exercise to relieve stress and worry, and offers escape from the confusion of everyday life. It is acknowledged to lower blood pressure and claims to offer freedom from poverty and suffering by supplying good health and wealth. Yoga and meditation have now been incorporated into a number of branches of medicine. Many large businesses require their employees to practice it, hoping to stimulate higher productivity. Members of the United Nations and the Pentagon are encouraged to meditate before considering major decisions. And public school students in many instances are required to participate in Hindu rituals of yoga and meditation despite the separation of church and state.
The danger lies in the fact that despite its packaging, despite its surface benefits, and despite its claims to the contrary, meditation remains as it was originally designed, a religious practice used for making contact with a dark spiritual realm. In this report, we will be asking the question, is Eastern meditation the answer to Western society's ills, or is it a pathway to deception?
India, land of mystery, is the 7th largest landmass and 2nd most populated nation in the world. It is rich in resources and manpower, yet its people are among the poorest and most suffering on earth. Millions of Indians suffer from malnutrition, disease, and poverty. The people are apathetic because their religion has taught them to be detached observers, disregarding the agonizing lifestyle which imprisons them.
I was a member of the Social Service League at the college, and we were trying to do what we could to help people in the villages. A gentleman who was head of the Department of Hindi came around to us and said, why are you doing this? These people who are suffering in the villages, sick or diseased or whatever, have come to earth in this state because they have done something wrong in their past lives. Now, no matter what you do to them, if you cut short their suffering in this life, what will happen is they will simply come back in their next life in the same state or a worse state. So you're really wasting your time.
It is part of the world of illusion, and the goal is to withdraw and detach yourself from it. So there's no high view of, say, social action or compassion or an outraged concern to see justice in this world. On the contrary, if you do things like that, very often you're just tinkering with a person's karma.
They believe that when a person suffers, that is what he's due as a result of the law of karma, because you've done something very sinful in this lifetime or in a past lifetime. So there's very little compassion.
One just was taught to ignore all of the dreadful, the intolerable poverty and suffering of India. There were beggars clustering around the gates of the ashram day and night, children starving, living in little huts surrounding what was supposed to be a religious community. The contradiction was disgusting to me, but most of the sannyasins failed to notice it. It appeared not to bother them in the least.
We feel that the cause of suffering is within, and so to allow people to experience peace themselves, we teach courses in meditation.
They seek to escape suffering by numbing their emotions and compassion through meditation. Although the Hindu tries to convince himself that suffering is only in his mind, an illusion as he calls it, Maya, at the same time he believes that he has to suffer again and again by forever being forced to return to this world through reincarnation.
All the gurus that I know of in the Western world teach reincarnation, a doctrine very central to Hinduism. Reincarnation is all about dying and coming back to this world in one form or the other.
Hare Krishna people believe in transmigration of the soul, as they prefer to call it, traveling from body to body to body.
These physical bodies don't last forever, even though the soul does. So in the same way that a driver needs to change cars, in the same way we need to change from one body to another.
Gandhi called reincarnation a burden too great to bear. Yet it is being eagerly embraced in the West in diluted form, as part of a patent blend of Hinduism and Zen Buddhism, camouflaged with psychological terminology. This New Age religion is promoted through thousands of worldwide networks and hundreds of major gatherings, such as this Mind, Body, Spirit Festival held in Los Angeles. It is a westernized version of India's Kumbh Mela and promotes many of the same gurus and practices, from astrology and palmistry to psychic readings, healings, and meditations. The festival, now international, was started in London in 1977 by Graham Wilson. He explains the New Age interpretation of reincarnation as an upward evolution to a higher species of mankind.
We don't just reincarnate as an individual soul into a new body each time, but there's a collective consciousness of souls, which is why I think we have access to a lot more information than we realize.
I noticed that in the Western world, reincarnation has become something of a fad. However, in India and in Asia as a whole, reincarnation is certainly not a fad. It is a form of punishment.
Within Hinduism, reincarnation is considered to be a terrible concept. The aim of the Hindus' religion is to somehow try and escape from this endless imprisonment of life and death. And the means by which they believe one can get out of this hopeless trap is through the practice of yoga.
Yoga goes all the way back to the Hindu god Shiva, who is called Yogeshvara, meaning Lord of Yoga. You find yoga being taught in several of the major Hindu scriptures. Krishna, one of the many Hindu gods, was an advocate of yoga. Yoga is also mentioned in the Gita as the main means to attaining salvation. The word means basically to yoke, union. The goal of the Hindu is to be yoked with Brahman. Brahman is the Hindu concept of God, the all or the absolute.